Once upon a time, in a village nestled deep within the forest, there lived a famous hunter named Olufemi. He was one of the skilled hunters in the village, but unfortunately, he was ensnared by misfortune. The forest, which used to have many animals, became quiet, and he couldn't catch anything as his traps remained empty. Each day, he returned home with little to show. The weight of his family's hunger pressured heavy upon him. Bisi, his devoted wife, watched their children's laughter replaced by cries of hunger. Desperation beat at her soul, leading her to contemplate actions once unthinkable. One evening, as the sun set, a stranger arrived and was drinking with his friends that lived close to Olufemi. The man was dressed in tattered robes. He spoke of a recent death in a neighboring village, a wealthy merchant buried with expensive garments of beauty and value. Bisi peeped through the window and overheard the discussions of the stranger and his friends. The stranger's tale planted a seed in Bisi's mind. She approached Olufemi. She looked anxious.
"If we retrieve those clothes, we can sell them and feed our children,"
she whispered. Olufemi pondered on it for a while, but as days passed and their children's cry grew louder, his resistance faded. In the dark of night, the couple ventured to the neighboring village burial ground. The air was thick with the scent of earth and decay as they unearthed the merchant's grave. Their hands trembled, but the vision of their starving children propelled them forward. They got the clothes and left. Upon returning, they concealed the garment within their hut, planning to sell it the next day. The next day, they successfully sold the clothes and gladly returned home. When they realized they could make more money from this, they continued stealing. They will always attend burials to see the kind of clothes used to dress the corpse, and at night they will go steal it. For a while, their scheme went unnoticed, and they sold the garments in nearby markets, earning enough to live comfortably. One night, they targeted the grave of a wealthy villager who had been buried with fine clothes. As they dug up the coffin, a chilly wind swept through the trees, and the moon hid behind dark clouds, creating spooky shadows. They ignored the scary atmosphere and proceeded with their theft. After selling the stolen clothes, strange occurrences began to happen in the village. Plants died, livestock fell ill, and fear grew over the community. Whispers of a curse spread among the villagers, but no one knew its source. One evening, as the sun set and darkness enveloped the village, Elder Tunde called for a gathering. He spoke of the misfortune befalling the village and urged anyone with knowledge to come forward. Fearful but burdened by guilt, Olufemi and Bisi remained silent. That night, they were tormented by nightmares. They dreamt of the dead rising, their hollow eyes filled with sorrow, reaching out with decaying hands. The couple woke in cold sweat, the weight of their actions pressing heavily upon them. Unable to bear the guilt any longer, they confessed their crimes to Elder Tunde. The villagers were horrified and felt betrayed by those they once considered neighbors. To cleanse the village of the perceived curse, the community decided that Olufemi and his household must be banished. With heavy hearts and regrets, Olufemi and Bisi left the village with their children, disappearing into the forest. 2 days after Olufemi and his family left the village, a heavy rain fell all through the night. A week later, plants began to grow, animals became healthy, peace was restored to the village again, but the fate of Olufemi and his family remained unknown.